Hello, I'm Seafood Source Editor Sean Murphy, and we're coming to you again from Paris at the Global Aquaculture Alliance's GOAL2013 conference. And I'm here today with Eric Bell, who is the product manager for plant-based proteins at Cargill. You didn't actually present yourself today, but you're in the audience as a practitioner watching and learning, hopefully along with everyone else. And there was a lot of talk today about plant-based proteins, talk about how that's really improving. I know Eric Villeroy, who we'll be talking to later, talked about how that's on the rise in the past decade or so, certainly in the Norwegian fish farming sectors. What can you say from your perspective about, beyond that? Are you seeing similar trends?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. Salmon is our key industry that we supply to currently. We've been developing protein concentrates for the marine species, shrimp industry over the last 5 or 6 years. So as he mentioned, going back to the early 90s where plant-based products made up 10% or so of the diet. Now they're 70%. We're seeing most of the salmon producers producing diets commercially today, not only in Europe, but in Canada and Chile, with fish meal contents of less than 10%. Yeah, so
less than 10% plant-based.
Less than 10% fish meal.
Oh, less than fish meal.
So they've gone from 50% or more of the diet to under 10% fish meal, and most of the major producers, at least in the Americas. Yeah.
So this isn't just a trend in Norway or Norwegian or even in Europe. This is beyond that. You're seeing it happening everywhere.
Yeah, this is a global trend. It's been a little slower, I think, in Asia, where the preference for fish meal and maybe the availability of local sources is a little higher, but fish meal production has been flat for quite some time. You have a growing aquaculture base, growing feed production base. So the way to manage feed formulation costs is looking for good, viable alternatives, which also help drive sustainability. So.
Well, let's talk about that. Why is there such a strong drive for these alternative proteins? I mean, what's wrong with traditional fish meal?
There's nothing wrong with traditional fish meal in of itself, but because of the flat supply of fish meal and the growing demand, something has to give. So there is as the people's income levels rise globally, and more people want protein in their diet and they have more money to spend, there's an ever-growing need for quality proteins to feed animals, and specifically in aquaculture, where many of these, especially the high-value species like shrimp, salmon, marine, have very limited ability to convert carbohydrates into energy. The quality proteins are really becoming quite valuable, and alternatives to manage feed costs are becoming more and more important.
So it's easier to produce, it's cheaper to produce, and it helps keep up with the trend of increased aquaculture out there.
Yeah, and it makes it more sustainable. So a lot of the marketing, priorities and environmental priorities around the fish in, fish out ratio, that's really what's driven that from 5 down to 1 or less in a lot of these species. So.
Okay, interesting stuff. We'll watch to see if this trend continues. Hopefully it is. It sounds like everybody's interested in it, and looks like it can only go up from here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some pretty significant changes and innovations over the years to come. So.
Okay. Well, this is Eric Bell. He's with Cargill. He's the product manager for non-protein alternative proteins. I have to
plant-based proteins.
Plant-based protein. Thank you. I need to get that out. So we're watching that here today on seafoodsource.com, and you keep watching seafoodsource.com all week long for our ongoing full coverage of Global Goal 2013.